that. If you have a longer YouTube channel, you can copy your image. If you want to like put images over here on the side, just pretty much make a new image. This one's 1680. So just make a new one 1680 and then change it up to however long you want it. And then copy that and paste that over there. And then you'll just move that up to the top. And if you hold down Alt, you'll get an eyedropper to copy the background color. It just saves time. Like that. I don't know how long I've been talking for, but I guess I can keep going as long as I can think of stuff right. Nobody cares. We'll just keep going. I guess text, if you want to add some text on to maybe we'll change the background. Change the background color. This is a horrible color right here. We'll make this black. And we'll change these to white. And I want to move that down a layer. We have this really ugly line here that we can get rid of, but I have my background image on the same thing, so I'm just going to duplicate that. Right click, duplicate layer. And then I'm just going to delete this whole thing. Control A, delete that. And I'll just make this black. And then I can just erase whatever I don't want from this. And it'll fade out to the bottom. Change my opacity down. And usually it's better if you're trying to blend something to pick one of the less hard brushes. It'll just make things transition nicer. It won't be so sharp and it'll look more believable if you're trying to blend a couple objects. And if you don't like a cool purple background, I guess, I don't know, maybe he looks a little more badass. I don't know. We'll make it red or orange to match the flame, but that'll look bad. We'll just put it red. Just select the background you want, go to image, or the layer that you want, image adjustments, and then hue and saturation. You can change the different colors however you want them to. We'll make it pink. That's even better. If you want to make it more bright or more vibrant, do brightness and contrast. Make it really awesome like that. And if you want your background to glow, maybe you want a little glowing action there, you can just duplicate your layer and then go up to filter, and you want to blur it with the Gaussian blur. And depending on how glowy you want it, let's say about 3, it's going to blur that one out, and then go into your layer properties and do hard light. And you can also experiment with seeing whatever. I don't know, a lot of it's just playing around to see what you like. Make some kind of cool effect. Let's see here. Soft light makes it a little bit better. And then if I wanted to add on one of my cool images that I made. Just add another layer, paste that in there, go to screen, which I seem to have lost. Then you can also change the color of that one if you want. You could use color balance if you want. They're pretty much the same. Maybe something like that. What else do we have? Easily make borders. You can just use one of these. Just draw a rectangle around. Or if you want, you can draw a line. Wherever my line tool is in this version. I guess you could also do it this way. If you want to make sure it's uniform and exactly the right size, just select that one and do the modify, expand. And then we'll make it have, be a bright red. Something like that. You'll have to reblend that later if you want. You can use the eraser tool if you want. Just make it really big. Maybe not that big. It's a little bit big. You can always turn down the opacity. If you have a tablet, tablets work very well for this. You can make some cool effects if you don't want it to go the whole way. Just erase parts of it. Kind of adds more interest. Doesn't make it so blocked out. I don't like order. Order's overrated. I think I was going to do text. Maybe we have text before this goes to like 30-minute tutorial. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to do some vertical text, which is extremely hard to read. Awesome. Background. Wow. I can't even read that. Okay, so vertical text is impossible to read. Don't do it. Just change the font size if you want. Actually kind of like that. That's actually a pretty cool font. If you want to download more fonts, you can go to dafont.com. Dafont.com. That's my favorite place. They have some pretty cool stuff. And then, I don't know if people don't know how to install them, but you just click download and then open your control panel. And you want to find your font directory. Fonts. And then just open that up. And then you can pretty much just drag and drop them into there and it'll automatically install them. You might have to open Photoshop again. I'm not sure if it reads it right away. If you want, you can just add. Believe that works, yeah. If you want a bigger one, you don't have to actually use the numbers. So if you look back at where that's going to be, that'll put it up right there where the video thing is, so that won't really work. Just keep in mind where everything is going to be placed. And if you want to rotate that, you can just do the Control T, which is the free transform, and move it over to the side. It's going to make like a weird rotating arrow thing. And then you can just do it that way. And then once you're done, just hit enter. And it'll let you do that again. And if you want to make like the background glow, that's how I usually do it. I just don't play around with the font too much. Illustrator is a lot better with that, but font. Usually just use a Gaussian blur again and just hit OK when asked you to rasterize it. And you can see there's a very, very subtle glow to it. If you want to change that, just go to Image, Brightness and Contrast. Just make that, maybe we want a really ugly white. Then move that on top and apply an effect to it. You should be able to get a decenter effect. Theoretically, maybe not. Okay, that was a bad idea. It looked better at the back. And white, as you can see, does not change colors. So that was a bad idea. Very bad idea. So that's pretty much the basics. Once you're done with your background, be sure to save it out as a PSD first. And then you can go back and edit these layers over here if you want to tweak the positioning of something, or if you notice that there's a random blob that you don't want. That usually happens. So save it out as a PSD first, and then go to Save for Web. And we're going to compress it down so it'll actually fit on YouTube. So grab the hand tool, kind of move until you see one of the most intense parts, or the part you want to make sure it looks good. And the left hand side is going to be the original uncompressed one. On the right is going to be the compressed version. And it's going to list the size down here, which is important. YouTube is 256. So you have to make sure your image is 256. I don't think it'll take 256. It has to be 255. And if yours is higher than 256, you can change the settings. JPEG is good because it compresses it the most, but it gets kind of blocky sometimes. Pretty much you just play with these settings until you can get to 256. You can also add blur, but I usually don't. Sometimes you have to. Just try to get as close as you can. And see, it doesn't look too bad. And then just hit save, and it'll open up another window. And then you can just save whatever you want it to be. And then go to YouTube and make a new theme. And it's gonna upload it. And there is the most awesome background ever. Yep. So that's really quickly how to make a really awesome background. I could get into it a lot more, but that's kind of the basics on how to make a background. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, or you can send me a PM on my account, which is Light of Lies. That's my channel. If you want, I can try and answer any questions that you have. I'm not like an expert in Photoshop, but I know my way around it pretty well. I also know my way around a Paint Shop Pro if you have that, or I do have CS5. I work with that at school, but I haven't it loaded on this one at the moment. It's having problems. Just hit save and then change and stuff. So I'll put up the links to the download for the program and the 2 templates. So thank you for watching and have fun making backgrounds.